just got back from the dentist, well, endodontist, whatever you want to call it, but, just had my first of the 2 root canals done. Not first ever, but of the 2 that I was talking about a while back and all the dental drama that's going on in my mouth. I remember how with the last update, I told you that this guy was not so confident he could save either of my teeth, like really, really not confident about this one, but this one he said, not confident, but he wouldn't know for sure until he got in there working on it to know one way or the other if it's savable. Guess what? Savable! I'm so happy! Like, oh my gosh. Once that crown is on there, this will be the first time in 3 years I'll be able to chew on this side of my mouth. And if I had just done this, back when it originally happened, the teeth on this side that are now messed up, that have all been failing from too much pressure on this side for 3 years, probably wouldn't have broken and been all messed up. Ain't that a bitch? But regardless, it's savable. Like, I honestly thought I was gonna start crying when he told me that he was able to save it. But let me backpedal a little bit. So it was just an all-around interesting day regarding this. So, starting from the car ride there, got in the car, realized about 20 seconds after pulling out of the driveway, oh my god, I never used my Flonase. I do not stand a chance with all my allergies and nose sensitivity crap that without that we have to turn back. And my dad was not going to turn back for that. But fate was apparently on my side because, what is it? Well, maybe it's GPS, but he has a little screen, a touch screen in the dashboard of his car that has, like, maps, and you put in your destination, and it gives you the directions of how to get there. For the first time ever, it decided to not want to work today. Like, the whole screen was just frozen. Could not make the damn thing work. And even though I have the address of the place memorized, I just knew off the top of our head how the hell to get there. Like, we knew a general area, but that's not that helpful. So, yeah. Anyway, so because of that, got to turn around, run back in the house once he got home because he had to get his TomTom. Yeah, remember those? Not the drum, but the little mini GPS device you'd hook to your computer for addresses. Grab that from his den, since he still has his. He just hasn't used it really since this car, since it has one built in that's better. Got it, put it in, and while he was doing that, I went and took his Flonase, and thank God. But, got back in, typed it in, and he delegated that task to me. The person who can't read so much as 2 sentences in the car without getting car sick. That was fun. So by the time I actually got there, I felt all sorts of queasy and like I was gonna throw up any second. That was freaking awesome. But from that point out, it started to improve. So got there, got right back because I was like 6 or 7 minutes late by that point. So like I gave them my name, they like pulled me right back. Got me in the chair, and I mentioned the weird little, but I'm not even sure if I've mentioned this to you guys. It's kind of gross. It's kind of TMI. I'm sure you guys don't really want to know, but if anybody's curious, shortly after the last time I went there, I noticed this weird little bump on my gum. Kind of like the type they asked when I made the first original appointment if I had, which at that point I didn't, or at least I was unaware if there was one there. But, you know where your gum turns into that little, like, pocket where it turns into your cheek, that curve there? Right up against where it starts to turn in that curve, but still on the gum side, there's, like, basically a zit on my gums, essentially. It's a little raised thing, and the first time I noticed it, I decided to play amateur surgeon, and I felt the need to pop it. Because I knew damn well that if it was what I thought it was, pus should come out of it. If it's from the infection that was in that tooth, and, maybe get better. I'll obviously disinfect it after, which I very much did, but when I popped it, it was blood. Lots and lots and lots of blood. Mostly really dark arterial looking blood. It was almost black, which anytime I see that type of blood, it always freaks me the fuck out. And it takes me right back to the first time I ever had my blood drawn, and nobody warned me that arterial blood is almost black. So that day, I thought I must be Satan spawned, and oh my god, I'm evil, I freaking knew it, I'm going to hell when I die, oh my god. Like, I full-on panic attacked the first time I had my blood drawn, and they had to very calmly sit me down and explain, no, you're not evil, and this isn't even black, it's just really dark red. And the whole 9 yards, that until it's oxygenated is really dark. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This thing had basically the same exact fucking color come out of it, and just wouldn't stop. And it was really disgusting. So after that, and after disinfecting it, I left it the fuck alone. And it went away. And then a few days ago, it came back. And I think I had a warning shot that it was coming back, because anytime there's any sort of infection or an illness coming on, my allergies chill the fuck out. What do you know? Because my immune system is not, it's trying to fight whatever's actually going on. It can't be in hyper overdrive to do allergies too at the same time. So that's like the one time I get a natural reprieve without meds from my allergies is when something like that's going on. So why I need the Flonase, not so much because of those, but just the general sensitivity inside my nose. Every little thing just makes it ridiculously sensitive. So it just helps to use it. But regardless. So I'm in the chair, I mentioned it to him, he's just like, okay, let's take a look. Yeah, I think that was there last time you were here, honestly. But it's not a bad thing. Actually, if you didn't have it, you'd probably be in a lot more pain. And I was like, well, thankfully for me, I'm not in any pain right now. The only tooth that hurts, ironically, is the other one that's not getting worked on yet. So, one tooth at a time. But, so he got me numb, and the initial shots, really not bad. This guy was excellent. I think I've only ever had one other dentist that good at giving Novocaine shots to where it just did not hurt. I mean, there was like one on the inside side where there's a little twinge where just like I breathed through it and was perfectly fine. My eyes didn't even well up. It was that level of good. I was just like, I even had to tell him after he finished, oh my god, you're really good at that. That didn't even hardly hurt at all. That was excellent. The only one that did wasn't one at that point. It was like in the middle of the procedure, he decided to give me one more. Randomly, that one! That was the one that hurt like a bitch and made my eyes water. But the initial ones, no. But the initial ones, apparently this is the difference between having Novocaine on normal teeth and having it on infected teeth. I've heard this for years, but now I see it in action, that if you have an active infection going on, the numbing agent will not work the same way, and you will not get as numb. Holy balls, is that right? Because I sat there better part of an hour waiting for it to get fully numb, and it just didn't. It really never did, and for me, that's very unusual. It's not unusual for like 20 minutes after they give it to me, I'm like, yeah, I need more of it. It already wore off, but for it to hit in the first place, no, that was highly unusual, and I brought it to his attention. He's just like, I promise you, you're numb, but I'll give you another one for good luck. But, I was just like, okay. And to be fair, I still felt a little bit through it, not enough to really, like, bother me, but enough to where I was on, like, heightened red alert the whole time waiting for the exact moment when I'd get the searing shot of pain, because apparently it's not totally numb, but, thankfully, that was not a thing. Thank God. I was expecting it at any given moment during the damn procedure, but thankfully, didn't happen. But, yeah, it was very weird. He, like, left for heck long waiting for it to kick in. I got through almost an entire Paul McCartney album on my iPod, and it was still not totally numb. So, after he gave the other ones, he just started going to work, and the only thing that really freaked me out wasn't a thing that should have freaked anybody out. He uses dental dams, which most dentists nowadays don't. The last time I encountered a dentist that did was the one I used to see when I was a tiny, tiny child, and was the one that used to yell at me every time I went in, because he would use those dang things for literally any procedure under the sun, which, again, some dentists do, some dentists don't. It's just up to their discretion, but the clamp around the tooth itself always freaked me out because I felt so positive it was going to snap my tooth off every time, and I would start panic attacking, and that dentist would, like, scream at me over it, which, of course, would make me cry more than I was already crying in the first place because I was so scared, and being that tiny of a little kid, I didn't know that not all dentists did that. I didn't know that was wrong, and I didn't know that it was worth mentioning to my dad until one time after I had been done there. I came out and I was still in tears. My dad's like, "What's wrong? Are you hurting?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Why are you crying?" He wouldn't stop yelling at me. Like, he what? Yeah, that was the last time I was brought there, needless to say. But, because of that, I have more than a little PTSD involving dental dams, and the placement of them specifically, not the thing itself, although it does make me really claustrophobic and just uncomfy, although part of it is probably just what I mentally go back to with it. And I asked him if there was any way we could do this without it, and he said no. He always uses them, which is called an egg, but to be fair, to me, he did cut out part of it so it wasn't touching my nose and I didn't have the plastic up against my nose, because he knows about my plastic sensitivity. Even though this was a latex-free dental dam, he still didn't want to take the shot with it being that close to my nose. He wanted to give me as much room around it of it not being right there, which probably helped a ton. So, with that in mind, I had also asked about if the mask he uses in his office for the laughing gas, does it smell like plastic or rubber? Because if it doesn't, maybe would it be a good idea to have it on and just put oxygen through it, just straight oxygen, no gas, just so I have a physical barrier between me and whatever chemicals and smells and whatnot is going on, so that I don't get triggered by them, possibly. Would that maybe be a good idea? And the oxygen, since anytime I do have a reaction, just my go-to thing is, oh look, I have the pretty light again, but my go-to thing tends to be to go outside and breathe fresh air till I feel better. It would make sense to just have the fresh air going through the whole time. And he said, oh, I'm fast at what I do, you won't need it. And it has a rubbery smell, so I don't think you want it, which, to be fair, yeah, as soon as I heard that, I was like, no, I don't really want it. I'll tough it out and see how I do, and we'll play it by ear as need be, which thankfully, knock on wood, it didn't end up being an issue today, so I lucked out. I think I picked the right part of the month to go in, because if it's during my period or the week after, for some reason, literally any scent under the sun seems to mess with me, and I'm gonna tilt this a little bit. As pretty as that light is, it's getting to where you can kind of barely see me through it, so, okay. Anyway, it's gonna just come this way anyway, but, okay, anyway. So I decided to go without it. And he placed the dental dam, and, of course, I started to hit panic mode a little bit. This is also the first dentist I didn't mention that story to, of why I am not a fan of those, but I figured, okay, I'm just gonna go into meditation mode and I'm gonna breathe through it. The only thing I did, I asked him if I could have a bite block. He's like, you want a bite block? Sure, here you go. I was like, thank you, that's much better. Because for me, I literally cannot hold my mouth open for even 10 minutes if I don't have that. I have to be able to relax around that. So, because that painful tooth wasn't as easy as it would normally be for me, but I was still able to manage. So, turned up my music, and he gestured for me to turn down a little bit, just because he was apparently concerned about my hearing, which he seems like such a dad. It was like, oh, that's kind of cute. But anyway, so I didn't have it as drowned out as I normally might, but that's okay. It's alright. And the further in the procedure it got, since he had to lean to the opposite side, he was going across and it kept pushing this earphone off, which, oh well, whatever. And by the time I was done, I had had it so low to where it was almost not on. So for me, that's major, because normally if I have dental work done, I have that music blasting as loud as it goes, so I don't hear anything, and I can just mentally space out and pretend I'm anywhere but there. Okay, see, I told you it would come right back. Okay, turn into little again. Okay, we're just gonna keep scooting around as need be. Anyway, so, anywho, he did what he had to do, and with the exception of just, like, the one additional shot he had to do in the middle that hurt like a bitch, but I mean, it ended up being fine. I mean, it only hurt while he was giving it afterwards. I mean, it felt fine. It numbed you up more, so whatever. Other than that, the only thing that was a little bit problematic, but not really, it was more of an annoyance than problematic. Just the noises of the tools seemed abnormally rough, and I kept hearing crunching noises because of it, and I kept, like, hitting a little bit of panic, just instinctively flinching a bit and going, ah! And he was just like, are you in pain? I was like, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. And then he'd go back to it, and of course, really, okay, let me be honest with you. You're freaking me out a little bit. And so, of course, then I'm just like, I'm sorry, it's involuntary, I can't help it. I'll try my best to not, but it's really involuntary. I'm trying my best here. And I did end up managing to make it through the thing. There was just a few parts where certain vibrations hit a point where it just sounded like, for the weird noises I was hearing, I was expecting the next thing I heard to be, oops! But no, that was not a thing. Although I've had dentists do that. Oh, I've had so many dentists where all of a sudden I hear a crunch and the next thing I know, oops! And it's like, what do you mean, oops? But that, thank God, did not happen today. And I was in there for what seemed abnormally long, not necessarily by my standards since I've had some marathon dental appointments before, but since I was told it would take about an hour going into it, I knew for a fact, for how much music I was getting through, that this has been way longer than an hour. Yeah, it ended up being more like 2 hours. But by the time that he had everything off of me, and he told me, he was like, so good news, I was able to save the tooth. Caveat, this is a last-ditch effort to save the tooth. If anything happens to it once we get it crowned, that'll be it, and it'll have to be extracted at that point. But for now, we're able to save it, so it'll take one more appointment to put an actual crown on it, but yeah, looks like we can save this. And I was like, I'm so happy, I could hug you right now, but the look on his face was kind of just like, yeah, please don't touch me, so I didn't, but I really wanted to. I kind of wanted to cry. I was so happy, because I honest to God did not expect this to be a savable tooth. It looked so bad, and it was infected to a point that I don't think I've ever had another tooth get quite that infected before. I figured there's no hope for this one. He saved it. I mean, even if you read this particular dentist's reviews on, like, Yelp and stuff, they're pretty much all 5-star across the board, and people saying that, like, any other dentist I would have gone to would have said that my tooth was unsavable, but he was able to save it, so, I mean, I had a good feeling going into it that if anybody can do it, it's him. And if he thinks it's not doable, then it's not doable, so I'm very relieved that I went to this guy, and he was able to save this one. That one, I still don't know. We'll have to see how it goes when he works on that, but who knows, maybe I'll luck out a second time, and maybe he'll be able to save that too. I'm not holding my breath, but I'd be really, really happy if I don't have to have an extraction over this, because I was figuring it's a necessity. I mean, it's a partial victory if neither of these have to be extracted, but not entirely out of the woods, because remember, I do still have the 2 that broke off at the gum line, and that 1 wisdom tooth that still have to go, so I'm not totally off the hook where extractions go, but we also know my track record of actually getting around to doing those things, so I'll get this taken care of, I'll get that taken care of. If it turns out being an extraction, I'll probably let him take the tooth behind it. Don't know if I'll let him take the top 2 at the same time. I may have him do them in 2 separate things, because that seems like an awful lot of pain to do at once. Because, again, as I've stated before on this channel, I'm allergic to all NSAID drugs, so the only over-the-counter one I can take without having a severe allergic reaction is Tylenol. We all know how Tylenol works, so I'm like, I really don't want to do anything that's going to put me in extreme levels of pain, because I can't take anti-inflammatories to bring down the swelling to help with the pain, so I'm kind of fucked if that happens. I've got my Tylenol arthritis strength, but it's still just acetaminophen. But regardless, I'm very happy that this one doesn't look like an extraction, at least for right now, since this one, the x-ray showed there is definite sinus involvement, and would be probably pretty problematic if it does have to go someday, so for now, I'm very relieved it doesn't have to go. But again, still don't know about this guy, but I go back at the end of the month to get the crown on this one, unless something opens up sooner, in which case, hell yeah, but yeah, it looks really weird, and it's down lower than the teeth around it for the temporary that's on it. It's not like a temporary I can eat on or anything, it's just a temporary to keep crap out of it. And weirdly, it doesn't cover, like, the entire thing. I am shocked that the outer layer of the tooth on this side is still visible. I imagine when they put the actual crown over it, it won't be, but, I see, it's still visible. You can see the crown right there. Well, see? Yeah, that's a view none of you guys ever wanted. I'm sorry. But that is what we did today, and thankfully right now, I'm not feeling any pain. I mean, I took a Tylenol as soon as I got home just to be on the safe side. I figured, if nothing else, in case I otherwise would be in pain, I'll just nip it in the bud before it starts, but generally, I've been very lucky in my life with root canals that I think the only one I ever had pain after was just the one where the root itself was broken, and they couldn't do anything to help me that day. It had to come out, so that one still was excruciating after, but all the others that I've had done, which is most of my teeth at this point, let's be real, I came home and felt perfectly fine, moved on with my day, like nothing happened. But it's just weird because I never hit that same level of high numbness with this one that, even right now, I mean, I still feel a little bit of fuzziness, but not numbness. I never had the weird, like, half the side of my face looks like a stroke victim thing this time. It never slurred my speech. Well, not more than I already do to begin with, but yeah, that part to me just still feels weird, but at the same time, I'm kind of grateful that I'm not slurring all over the place, because it means I can, in fact, film tonight, since I never did yesterday. Sorry, I meant to, but time got away from me, and by the time that I had free time to do it, I don't know, I felt really wiped. The day before, I felt really wiped too, so like I said, if this infection had in fact started coming back, I guess that would make sense for why I've just felt so out of it the past couple days. Not painful or anything, but enough to know something's up. But didn't get antibiotics or anything, so I'm guessing it's just gonna clear itself now that I've had the root canal done. I forgot to ask him about that, so I guess we'll see if the bump goes away, but so that's where we're at right now. I don't think my dad's too thrilled with the price tag on this, but it's still a lot less than others have been. I think today, actually I have it right next to me. Yeah, today's total was $1,475. And when I go back, it's another $450. So, ouch. It could be worse, but ouch. So I don't know if it's just gonna be like a silver one since it's in the back, or if it's gonna look like something, or what the dealio is. I know that the last time I had one done by an endodontist, they just did a silver one, but this guy seems very eco-friendly and health-conscious, so I feel like he would not use amalgam, but I don't know for sure. So, I guess we'll find out when it happens, and you know I am Little Miss Overshare everything, so I'll tell you guys when it does. But, yeah, once again, was not a scary thing, it just some creepy noises, which I guess if, I get my way yet again with when I do have extractions done, that I get to stay awake again. Good that I'm bracing myself for that and getting used to those sounds, because it's a lot worse when you have a tooth pulled. Oh my god, it's like the creepiest noise in the world. But anyway, not painful, just creepy. Kinda like today, not painful, just creepy noises involved. But anywho, that is all I have to say for this one. So I'll have some more typical videos up later tonight, but I do have to eat my dinner, so while this uploads, I'll go do that, and then I'll film a review for today. I'm thinking I'm going to review the Fruit Punch chapstick that my friend Jolene sent me. She actually was cool enough to send me these 3 that are new, which, to be fair, these 2, I mean, I don't know that they ever retired these 2 100%. I don't think I ever had the plain grape one. I had Grape to Meet You, and I had one other grape one from Chapstick, but never just the plain grape one. But she says it smells a lot more tolerable than most grape chapsticks and lip balms do, so I'm going into that one with an open mind. This one, the only time they ever had this one out before, I believe, was with the Ice Cream Truck collection from like 2009. So it's been a long time, and I'm very hopeful that this one's gonna smell as amazing as the original did, because I freaking loved the original back in the day. So, but yeah, it's been a while since I got these, so the scent kind of wore out. Well, this because I didn't have that, but it's been a while since I've had this one, and the scent has more or less worn off out of my older one, so I'll be both telling you if it smells the same as I remember the old one being, and just a general review of it, because I feel like doing this one tonight. But yeah, so anyway, that's it for now. I will be back later tonight, so see ya then. Bye.